Astralis had a great amount of attention pointed towards them at the beginning of this year, with the transition of legendary Opper Device to IGL and the signing of Bro from Monty. These roster moves came after an unceremonious exit for Astralis at the PGL Copenhagen RMR in February, failing to qualify for the major with a BlameF-led squad. Bro, who previously had played for Astralis Talent, theoretically was a good replacement for BlameF. His inclusion allowed for the team to sort out role clashes elsewhere, mainly with Stown and Yabby, who had uncharacteristically struggled since joining the team. There was great pressure from the public and presumably from the organization for Stown and Yabby to flourish as new stars, as Astralis at the end of 2023 had spent $2 million collectively to acquire them. In a team with ostensibly 4-star players, Bro would end up with the least favorable positions in exchange for less external pressure to be a hard carry. Instead, most of the pressure in this roster move was on Device and whether he could be a proper Tier 1 IGL. In his words at the time, he had always been the secondary caller in his previous lineups, so when a change was made, naturally thought was given to Device making the switch. The Danish hopper was quick to clear doubts on whether this was a stopgap measure with Device simply serving as interim IGL, making clear it's a role he sees himself in for many years. Naturally, the community at large was still greatly apprehensive. Less than 10 days earlier, Device had tweeted, "Not having any fun playing whatsoever at the moment, which is seen on the performance. Really disappointed and sad." This came amidst the team's slog through the European RMR, following best-of-1 losses to Spirit and Heroic. It would be hard to find unreasonable a query on if this move was truly a step in the right direction for what on paper had been the best construction of Danish talent since the original Astralis Super Team. Much anticipated was IAM Chengdu 2024 for the debut of this Astralis roster in a proper LAN environment following the conclusion of the major. Astralis had a convincing start, with a best-of-1 win against an unranked Steel Helmet, followed by back-to-back 2-0 wins over FaZe and Virtus Pro to qualify straight to the semifinals. The Danes were bested in a FaZe rematch in the semifinal, and FaZe would go on to win the event the following day. Astralis were propelled to the playoffs by a particularly impressive T-side for a brand new squad. The team ended the event with a 59.5 T-side round win percentage, the highest in the entire event. The team also ended the event with a team rating of 1.19, also the highest in the event. Stown, Device, and Yabby were all posting proper star performances. Surely this is the arrival of a giant, right? Following their playoff appearance, a string of good results followed for the young squad. The team picked up some solid 2-0 wins at ESL Pro League, against teams like Eternal Fire, FaZe, and Liquid before bowing out to Vitality in the semifinal. In this event, Astralis was again the highest rated team present in T-side round win percentage and second highest in HLTV rating at 64.4% and 1.18 respectively. The team subsequently collected 2 more semifinal appearances, both at CCT Global Finals and Yala Compass. However, these tournaments started to reveal potentially some trouble in paradise. Suddenly, Astralis were struggling to consistently beat teams like Liquid and the Mongols, certainly not bad teams, but teams Astralis should be beating on most days. Statistically, the beginning of a downturn begins to become evident. Stown and Yabby are consistently producing their star numbers, but Device is struggling to be consistently impactful, particularly on T-sides, where he posts a 0.95 average T-side rating over these 2 events. Astralis' T-side begins to become a little less bulletproof, with the team posting a 50% T-side win rate at CCT and 49.2 at Yala Compass, dead average. The stats and results from the last 3 months paint a team in stagnation. Device is the only player on the team with a positive KD. Without Device, the average KD of the team is 0.98 compared to his 1.15. He is clearly capable of creating a system to call around himself, but is he struggling to utilize his proven star talent? Stown and Yabby are currently posting 1.16 and 1.07 CT side ratings respectively, alongside Device's 1.18, pushing the team to an average 52.2% CT side win percentage. On the T side, however, Stown and Yabby's struggles are more evident, judging by their 1.03 and 1.05 ratings and their average KD of 0.88. The team had an unceremonious exit from their next event, Blast Spring Finals. Despite Device's best individual efforts, Astralis were eliminated by Virtus Pro, having only picked up a single BO3 win versus SAW. In 6 maps, Device was the highest rated player of the tournament with a 1.38 rating, higher than MVP Donk's rating of 1.33, although in 12 maps. Astralis even led the pack in T-side opening kill percentage and trade percentage, providing a glimmer of hope in the team's synergy and familiarity with macro. The player break did not seem to demonstrably lend cohesion to what Astralis were building. In the Blast Fall groups, the opener to their season, across 12 maps the team posted an above-average T-side win rate but began to struggle heavily with their T-side trading. However, the team excelled on the CT side, posting the 4th best win rate of 58.5%, and were top 3 in opening kill percentage, multi-kills per round, and led the pack in 5v4 percentage. If these stats are to be our guide, Astralis leaned heavily on their CT side as they struggled through 2 BO3 losses to Vitality on their campaign to qualify for this year's fall final. The team was able to secure 2 best-of-3 wins against Falcons before beating NIP in team domination to secure their spot in Copenhagen. IEM Cologne, a major keystone event in the calendar and the first of the second season, was a chance for the team to take advantage of skipping a potentially treacherous play-in and proving themselves amongst the best CS talent in the world. Well, they had a promising start with a 2-0 victory over 9Z, but the carriage quickly turned to a pumpkin after 2 swift losses to Navi and G2, with the team collecting a meager 0.81 KD over the entire tournament. Once again, Device is the top-rated player on the team with a 1.11 rating, but the discrepancy has now become even more dire, with the next rated player being Yabby with a 0.92 rating. Stown, conceivably Device's second star, had a 0.75 rating at Cologne. What is the most rational way of interpreting this pattern of results? Can we write off Astralis' performance at the event as people will with Spirit's poor results following their subsequent return? Or will this just be one data point in a larger downward trend for the squad? The highest this team has been ranked on HLTV's world ranking is number 7, in May of 2024, following their 3rd-4th finishes at both Pro League and IEM Chengdu, where they collected BO3 wins against the aforementioned FaZe, Eternal Fire, Liquid, so on. Since then, they have slowly fallen to number 9 and have not shown positive trends since. I can't definitively say whether this roster is completely doomed, but what I can say is Device is undeniably failing to create a system where both he and his teammates can frag. Clearly, he as an IGL is very capable of creating scenarios where he can frag, both on T and CT side. But besides Device, since their strong first impression earlier this year, nobody in this team seems to be able to consistently find their groove. I struggle to believe that Stown, Yabby, Stare, and Bro are all consistently simultaneously struggling for reasons that are strictly related to in-game philosophies or role disputes. This Astralis saga does not help the growing disdain towards star players turning to IGLing following the tribulations of players like Electronic and Yakindar. Despite comments online and videos of him punching monitors, I don't believe Device would be a corrosive figure personally within a team, especially given his position as captain. So the comparison to Electronic's perception as a Rasputin-type figure through his various roster moves might not be totally apt, but one must wonder how much this Astralis team would improve by getting an IGL like Hooksy. Electronic and Cloud9 are apt in this regard with how much that team improved by Electronic handing the leadership role to Boomich, who led the team to a major quarterfinal despite not having a dedicated opera. Unfortunately, if you're going to bring someone into IGL for this team, it would conceivably be someone with a playstyle like Hooksy or Kerrigan, necessitating most likely the removal of Stare. It's unfortunate as Stare has actually looked increasingly competent within his roles, and his spot in this roster is likely seen as a meaningful investment on behalf of Astralis and Device, who have kept him on this roster despite multiple shakeups in the last year. But his roles within the team would be the easiest to replace, and the addition of a tenured IGL like Hooksy or even Glaive would allow Astralis to build a sustainable and comprehensive system that not only lets Device have free reign as the star opper, a job he has more than proven capable of in CS2, while also igniting all of the star talent that is currently lying dormant in this roster. Sure, these are high expectations of professional players, but this Astralis roster is and should be designed to be a world-beating roster. Astralis' goal has always been Danish domination, but this roster, despite still being number 1 in Denmark's HLTV ranking, is frankly not setting the bar particularly high. Certainly not when it comes to international competition.